Tonight's message involves three elements. The first element is fear. The second element is disharmony. And the third element is disunity. Fear leads to disharmony, which leads to disunity. Fear manifests itself in various forms, and some do not view it for what it is. Some of the forms that it presents itself: doubts of self, anxiety, denial, worry, and short-sightedness. All of these are fear-motivated. All of these create artificial boundaries that put you in a self-imposed prison. And this is what we have been referring to in the past when we talk of fear. You have to recognize it as such. You have to look at the denial. You have to look at the worry, the anxiety. This leads to disharmony. Disharmony is when the various portions of the mind are out of balance. This results in a great inefficient use of the energies, blockages, disruptions, side effects, leading to instability. This instability has stopped many people from following the path for discovery of self. And it seems that the people who have the greatest capacity for the energies are the most affected, for it is easy for them to be thrown out of balance. This weak spot has been exploited down through the ages by the dark forces. This conflict within self, the doubts, the disbelief of self, has thrown a wedge in between many sensitive people, resulting in the disunity. The very people who could join together, combine forces for the enlightenment of mankind, for the most part have been driven off into fractionalism. This fractionalism serves no one any benefit, and yet many sensitive people fall victim to it. You have your little groups that remain little groups. You have certain sensitive people that must collect a small grouping around them to assuage their doubts and their fears, because there are those there that are listening to them. You have other sensitive people that must tell who they know, what they know, so that they will be considered all right. You have sensitive people that must tell others how sensitive they are and how insensitive others are. And what does this accomplish? An extinguishing of the light. 'Tis a victory for the dark forces. They're getting the very people who are to be here to lead, to serve as an example, to do their work, the dark forces, for them. This disunity must be overcome. There is no need to compete. There is no need to make one an exclusive item. And that's what's occurred. Your traditional organizations have fallen victim to this. The list is endless. And they have all fallen victim to their fears and their need to say that they are right. And what makes them right makes everybody else wrong. That is not one's purpose. Right and wrong is relative on the physical plane. You have two clearly defined dichotomies: growth, evolution, and regression or involution. Always questioning, keeping an open mind, keeping a constant flow of information is growth. Regressing into dogma, telling people that yours is the only way, is regression. It's limiting. This is a pitfall of the physical plane that must be overcome. Numerous past lives have contributed to the fears, the doubts, the anxieties, the worries, the limited beliefs, and these must be looked at and resolved in each of you. As my distinguished colleague, Sir Arthur, has stated in the past, there are those that will not make it. There are those that will waste this lifetime, and that is a tragedy, not only for the individual entity, but for those that they came here to assist. So consider these words. Consider those three elements. Perhaps discuss them amongst yourself, because a viable system needs to be created to help the many to overcome the divisions, the fractionalism, the disunity, and they work as one for the light of wisdom. Ask yourself if you are doing what you need to do to remove these elements from within yourselves. And if you're not making conscious effort, you're not removing these elements. We would advise you to do so. Well, that was a short one. Okay. I've enjoyed reading this. I found it online, and I'm going to be looking for even more things to read on my channel that people have posted. Because if I think it's really good for me, I think it's really good for anybody else. Some things that I read, they may seem to be contradictory to something I have read before. And I've found that if I just don't let that bother me, like they're talking about here, it will all come out in the end, because what you say that seems to contradict another saying is sooner or later dispelled when you realize that you have to see it from many different angles. And because karma is one of them. I've heard people say, oh, karma doesn't affect you. Oh, karma is something that we don't have to worry about anymore. And reading what I've read in this last few segments has shown me that karma is just a reaction. And I understand it a lot better now. And that's resolved all my thoughts about that. And there's other such things as that. And those kind of things that people say, oh, well, this is not quite what I believe, have caused the disunity and the disagreements that divide people and cause them to be way less effective. And I believe this is a good one to show you how that is working for the dark forces when you think you're not. Because we want harmony and we don't want division. We don't necessarily need agreement on everything. We want to agree to disagree sometime, but continue on in harmony. And so that's what I will continue to present as I find things to read to those who like to listen to me read. And I hope to hear comments from some of you who are enjoying this. It really does my heart good to know that someone else really got something out of this that I read. I think that's all I have to say. This is the Dove Lady, over and out for now. Bye-bye.